Would you consider going vegan? Have you thought about it
Yeah.
before?
Well, I've never really thought about it before, but because I didn't really know about the practices.
Like hearing that, do you
yeah. I think like I've heard people like mention stuff like that in passing, but I've also like in school they always tell you like that's not really real and stuff. So I've always like not really been sure what's the truth, but.
So I'm asking people if they can share their thoughts on animal abuse, and like what does that mean to you?
Well, obviously it's horrible. So if I ever see like a company that is involved in animal abuse, I won't support them. But I've not done that much research into it. Just more like if I'm getting makeup products and like stuff for face. But I am a vegetarian, so I guess that means something.
Yeah, so yeah, not just animals abused for cosmetics, but also like farmed animals, you'd say, as well. Awesome. And do you think there's any moral distinction between a cat and a dog, or a chicken or a cow? Do you think there's an animal which is more important than the other?
Not to me, but I can understand like potentially animals that are more important to like the planet, if you get me, like bees and that.
Right.
How you might need to look after them more than other animals, but I don't really think so.
Cool. And you mentioned about vegetarianism then. Do you know about the cruel practices that happen to like dairy cows and chickens which produce eggs?
No.
So like dairy cows, they get forcefully impregnated. So the sperm is taken from the bull, and then the female cow will be put in what in the dairy industry is called a rape rack. So it's like this metal rack where they put them in and they can't move at all. And then the farmer puts their hand in the anus of the cow and holds the cervix in place, and then inserts the sperm and impregnates them. And then like a human, it takes 9 months for the calf to be born. And then they will take the calf away from the mother. And if it's a male calf, they'll usually either kill it on site or take it to a slaughterhouse and kill it very young, or sell it for veal. And if it's a female, it goes through the same kind of cycle of exploitation, forced impregnation, and then when they're around 5 years old, they get killed. So when we pay for dairy, we're still putting money towards that industry, which is exploiting animals and slaughtering them. And the same with the egg industry. So even if we're not paying for the flesh of that chicken, we're paying for them to be, like the males get killed on birth. They can tell from their feathers if it's a female or a male.
Okay.
And if it's a male, they'll just macerate it, so they get like grinded up and killed. And if it's a female, they'll live usually I think it's like about 9 weeks if they're going to kill it for meat, and if they're going to take the eggs from it, they'll kill it around a year old. Again, they live up to like
I had
5
no
years
clue
old.
about that now.
So like the best thing we could do is abstain from all animal products.
Yeah.
Would you consider going vegan? Have you thought about it before?
Well, I've never really thought about it before, but because I didn't really know about the practices.
Like hearing that, do you think
I think like I've heard people like mention stuff like that in passing, but I've also like in school they always tell you like that's not really real and stuff. So I've always like not really been sure what's the truth, but.
Well, there's lots and lots of footage out there. Like, don't take my word for it. There's like documentaries on documentaries. One called Dominion, which kind of pushed me to going vegan, and that shows slaughterhouse footage.
Yeah.
And because they're all saying like school or like the dairy industry or the flesh industry, or they'll tell us that it's an animal which has lived a happy life, but you'll see the footage and you realise that's not the case.
Yeah.
And there is no such thing as humane slaughter. Like, do you know the legal and humane ways that animals are killed in the UK?
No.
So cows, they get bolt gunned in the head, and so often they'll miss. So it takes multiple shots, and the cow's kind of forced into this very small space, and they know what's going to happen. They're like resisting, and pigs and chickens get gassed, so they get put in cages and descended into gas which suffocates them, and it takes like usually like over a minute of like lots of suffering. And I've been to slaughterhouses, you can like hear their suffering and their screams for help. And the alternative to that is eating plant-based food, which is not just not exploiting that animal and causing it to suffer, but it's also a lot better for health and reduces your carbon footprint, so it's a lot better for the planet.
Yeah.
Is that something you say you might consider?
Yeah. It's actually really interesting, yeah. Thank you.
Cool. No, I'm glad you stopped to talk.
No, yeah.
Can I recommend as well, I'm giving people this information here. It's called Challenge 22. So if you're not sure like what to eat, they give 3 weeks worth of meal suggestions, and the idea is it takes 3 weeks to change a habit. Okay. So that website, they challenge you to go 22 days plant-based. Is that something you'd like to do?
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out, yeah.
Awesome. And if you've got any questions about nutrition, they have free nutritional guides, so you can ask them. And the other one is a video by an animal rights activist who's really passionate, and it's about 20 minutes long, but I really recommend that. Because if you don't have much time now, he goes through all the ethical reasons and a bit about the environmental aspect as well. Yeah, check out those 2 links.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified when videos go up every Thursday. If you want to watch another conversation, here are a couple of options. And if you want to support my activism, there's a link in my profile to a page where you can buy me a coffee and donate money to an animal sanctuary.